We are asked to solve this absolute value function. That's where the x is. So the x is inside the absolute value. That means there's the standard practice that we'll usually go through with this process. So let's go ahead and just dive right in. The trick to remember on these is when you only have one absolute value, it's important to keep that absolute value on one side and to isolate it. So we solve for the absolute value. To solve for the absolute value here, I'll go ahead and add 2 to both sides. I get 4x minus 8 in the absolute value signs equals, remember these are uncommon terms, so I'll call that 2x plus 2. Okay, now here's the trick. The absolute value breaks up into 2 separate type problems. The easiest way is to remember that one of them is the normal one, so that's kind of the easiest solution. So at the minimum, you can just go ahead and drop the absolute values and solve it like you normally would, and you'll at least get one of the answers that way, or one of the possible answers. But the way I like to do it is I like to break it up into 2 separate equations like this, and I get the 4x minus 8 equals 2x plus 2. That's the normal one. And then the other one, there's 2 ways you can approach it. The best mathematical way is that you change this absolute value into a parenthesis with a negative sign. The same option you have is you can change the other side with the parenthesis and a negative sign out in front. It's the negative side of the answer. So I'll go ahead and I'll focus on this side. That's the way I like to do it. So that's a negative 4x minus 8 equals 2x plus 2. So this is the real important concept that you have to remember. To undo what keeps x from being by itself, in this case to get rid of the absolute values, we have to break it up into 2 separate equations. Now we go ahead and solve it like we normally would. My strategy is I get, at least on this side, get all the x's to one side first. So minus 2x, I like to keep my x positive if possible. 2x minus 8 equals 2. Then I'm moving everything to the other side, plus 8, and I get 2x equals 10. Divide by 2, x equals 5. This is one of the possible solutions. It's really important with absolute value that you remember you have to check your answers on these. Sometimes the answers don't work, so you have to check them. On this one, I'll go ahead and just distribute the negative sign. Negative 4x plus 8 equals, and this side doesn't change. Most of the steps are going to be the same from now on. I'll move all my x's to one side. I like to keep my x's positive if possible, so I'm actually going to add 4x right here, plus 4x to both sides. 8 equals 6x plus 2 minus 2, I'm getting x by itself. 6 equals 6x. Divide by 6. 1 equals x. All right. So the possible solutions are 1 and 5. X is equal to the possibility of 1 and 5. Now, like I said, we have to check these. It's called an extraneous solution. It's a solution that does not work. So we're looking, does 1 work and does 5 work? And you have to plug it into the original. If you've done all your math correct, you can kind of plug it in at this stage also. But we're supposed to plug it into the original, so I'll go ahead and follow that standard. So first, when x equals 1, absolute value of 4x minus 8 and absolute value minus 2 equals 2x. Wherever I see an x, I put a 1. So 1 minus 8. I always like using parentheses when I plug my numbers in. Minus 2 equals 2, parenthesis 1. This now is the absolute value of 4 minus 8. Minus 2 equals 2. Simplify, we're simplifying. This is like parentheses, so I take care of that first. That's a negative 4 minus 2 equals 2. And this is a check. I like having my question marks right here. I'm checking to see if this works or not. So this absolute value of negative 4 is positive 4 minus 2 equals 2. Is that true or not? Yes, 2 does equal 2. I'm okay with that one. I'll go ahead and check the 5 now. So this work's already recorded. And when x equals 5, I have the absolute value of 4x minus 8 minus 2 equals 2x. It's always nice to write the problem over. You're less likely to make mistakes if you have everything laid out for you clearly. So this now becomes 4 absolute value times 5 minus 8 and absolute value minus 2 equals 2. 5 is our x. So that becomes 20. And we're questioning this. I haven't plugged it in yet, and now I have. Is that true or not? 20 minus 8 and absolute value minus 2 equals 10. And then absolute value still is 12. Minus 2 equals 10. We're questioning this. And then 12, I'll go ahead and not skip any steps here. And yes, 10 does equal 10. So what that means is these are our solutions. We have checked them off.